Yeah, hi everyone, it's Billy here from 47 Wolves, All I Am. Welcome and thank you very much for joining me here today. We're going to be welcoming Jean Sheehan she's the founder and principal of Millennium Education and also the Secret Codes to Success. Today we're predominantly going to be talking about self-empowerment, self-love, all the things that entails, moving from fear-based mindset to a love, heart-centered space. We're going to go through some of the tools that may help you. We're going to discuss the mystery school that Jean offers, her medical intuition and everything that involves, and a little bit of woo-woo as well. Jean's an amazing lady, and I hope you really enjoy the podcast today. Thank you again for joining me once again, and I hope you enjoy it. Okay, thank you. No worries. All right. Thank you very much for joining me, everyone. It's Billy here from 47 Wolves, All I Am. Welcome today, Jean Sheehan. Jean's the founder of Millennium Education and Secret Codes to Success. Jean's a lovely person I met quite a number of years ago now. I've attended Jean's courses and been inspired and educated by Jean, and seen firsthand of what she does and how she helps so many people locally and all around the world. It's beautiful to watch. Jean's known as the walking, talking MRI, which I've seen firsthand. Her gift to see the anatomy and physiology in people was just an amazing gift that she's got, and she helps many people through that gift. Also, Jean is a 6-time best-selling Amazon author, and with some wonderful books there. Also an international keynote speaker. So there's the gist of what Jean is, who Jean is, but more than that, for me, Jean is just a wonderful, beautiful hearted person who does everything with her heart. She's a businesswoman, successful businesswoman, but it's because of her intention and her heart to give, and that from my outside perspective, it seems like Jean just wants to give her gift to everybody and empower people. And I welcome Jean today on the podcast. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much. I'm just about to cry with your words. So thank you very much, Billy. Gosh, overwhelmed with all of that. So thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. So, Jean, I've sort of just given everyone a little bit of a picture of what you do now in 2024, and obviously the last number of years. And are you able to share with us a little bit of your backstory and your journey to get to where you are now? That'd be great.
Awesome. So yeah, I'm known as the walking, talking MRI. Why? Because I love to walk, I love to talk, and I have the ability of scanning the body like an X-ray, MRI, blood test. I'm not psychic, clairvoyant, medium. I don't have those gifts. I'm very grounded, but I can just see inside the body. And I didn't see it as a gift when I was younger. I grew up in Kuwait, and that's a Middle Eastern country, and girls weren't about shining their brilliance or definitely not sharing any of this sort of stuff. It was actually seen as evil and taboo. So the first 5 years of my life, I grew up with an evil eye pinned on me of bad luck, tainted, really wrong. And that came about because I'd say things and people didn't understand. And also, after my mum had me, she didn't have any more children. She got cancer of the uterus. And my culture is very much having boys and producing more boys than the name. And then when we immigrated when I was 5 years old to Australia, I couldn't speak English, I could only speak Arabic and Greek. And in that time, I was very frightened. I was dyslexic, it wasn't picked up. And it was about don't shine, but just get through life. And I got through life through fear. There was a lot of abuse at home, physical, emotional, sexual, mental, etc. And fast forward to age 16, my mum died on Christmas Day, and it was safer for me to be homeless than live with my dad. And so the last year at school, I was homeless, but I managed to get through it. Prior to that, I was actually looking after my mum at home. She had the cancer and couldn't cope looking after her at home. So I decided to put her into hospital for the last 2 weeks of her life. I felt extremely guilty because I could see what was inside the body, but I couldn't say, I couldn't explain it. And I watched the nurses who were with her all the time, right, caring for her as the doctors would come in and out. So I'd made a decision that I wanted to be a nurse when I grew up as such. And so that's what I did after the year of homelessness, year 12. I went into nursing, and back then you lived in the nurses' quarters and wore starch caps and white uniform and things. And I would write case studies about the patients because I would see things and what we're being told by Western medicine. It's like it didn't match up, but I'd noticed emotional links and what was happening. And then I went into pathology. So that's in the laboratory and blood collecting and specimen collecting and things. And I noticed what I could see is what I could see under the microscope. So I would take blood from someone and take that blood sample to the lab and then look under the microscope. It's exactly what I could see and have the instant results. Then I went into pathology, not for very long, because I love to walk and talk, and the patient doesn't talk, and scientists don't talk either. What happened was, as we cut the body open, I could see the sacred geometry, I could see the dis-ease, again quantifying, because my woo-woo brain was like so connected, but my left science brain was battling with me. So that was all too much for me, and I didn't know what to do with this. And I'd married my childhood sweetheart. I was 16, he was 18, and I actually got quite depressed to the point of suicide. So I stole tablets from the ward. I'm very open with it. I stole the tablets and knew what to do. And I had the glass of water in my hand, the pills in my hand to kill myself because I couldn't handle this thing that I could see. Our son at that time, who was born with a lot of medical surgical problems, and I used to have to resuscitate him all the time, he was in childcare just to give me a break one day a week. And I thought, that's the day I'm going to bump myself off. And as I was about to take the pill and a glass of water, got a vision of our son, Jamie, who's now 30 years old. And it was, don't leave me, mummy. So I didn't do it. And I sought help from a girlfriend that was a doctor and said, I think I need antidepressants. I was on those for 2 weeks. I threw those out. Please, disclaimer, I did that. Please don't throw your medication out, but I needed
No.
to do that because I knew that wasn't the answer for me. And so I took a leap of faith and I went, like, I've got to tell someone. So I met up with my nursing girlfriends who I love to do coffee, cigarette, and smart. Smart is chatting with girlfriends. So that's when you could smoke in coffee shops and things. So we met up for coffee, cigarette, smut, and it was silent for a moment. And I went, that's the time. Now I'm going to say it. So I said to all my girlfriends, "Look, this is what I see inside your body, blah, blah, blah." It was dead silent, probably for 2 seconds, but it felt like an eternity. And I thought, they're either going to lock me up, they're going to abandon me, or I don't know. And then it was, do me, do me, do me. Why have you told us? And it opened from that to word of mouth, to doing sessions, to teaching. Can you credit courses? So now I've got my own accredited courses, Millennium Modality, which includes medical tuition and mystery school. And that's in 39 countries, to then the Amazon best-selling books, to the only medical intuitive cards in the world, to sacred geometry cards that are used with doctors and CEOs and Defence Force and all sorts of things. And so that's basically a short snippet of my story of how did I get where I am today? It just unraveled. But it had to be all of me. And the depression suicide was because I couldn't be all of me, I thought, had to hide. So that's it, Billy.
Yeah, what a wonderful backstory and so inspiring for you to, from where you started as a child, and like you said, that very oppressive sort of environment that you would have been in for a while. Obviously, you moved to Australia when you're 5, but yeah, to then even after that, yeah, to go through some of the things like with your mum's illness and everything else. It goes to show people out there listening that you can overcome anything that comes about, and quite often it will open up doors. So sometimes for me listening to that, it's inspiring because you can hear what you've had to overcome, but it's the empowerment that you've had in the first place, but been able to develop over your years to get to where you are, and it's all part of your journey. So, like we say, there's no good bad. It's nothing's happening to us. Everything's happening for us. We might not like it at the time, but if we have that understanding that A, it's only temporary, and B, that it could be and most likely going to be leading to something much more wonderful if we have the right attitude. So, thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good segue into today's podcast. We'd like to talk about empowerment and what that means. Just looking up the definitions and everything else. Empowerment can mean so many things to different people, and then you've got the breakdown. You've got physical empowerment, personal empowerment, emotional and mental empowerment. So, what's your take on empowerment? That's a big part of what you gift to your students and your clients.
Yeah, it's a good question because it's a very trendy word in business. Sales, potential, entrepreneur, and all those sort of things. The word power, actually, and I hear people that in the spiritual game of they took my power, and nobody can take anything. For me, power is love. When we've got that energy of love, we can be, do, and have anything. So, and they've done studies where um, smaller, frail women have seen their child like stuck underneath a car or something, and from nowhere, because of the love for the child and getting them to survive and stay alive, they've been able to lift up that car. The child has come, like I've got goosebumps as I say
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
The child escapes, and then the car's down, and then people say, "How'd you do that? What did I do?" Like they're just not even aware of it. And when we are in that love space, that empower is like inside you. I am that I am, or the or whatever people want to call it. So that to me is empowerment. Power is always if I'm doing with love. And if I'm doing it from love-based love, not fear-based love, which is 3D old paradigm. Fear-based love is, oh my gosh, I better do this because then I'll be loved, because that's how we're taught in the education system, is okay, be a good girl or good boy, and you'll get a gold star, and then I'll be loved, and it's externalized. But if we set boundaries and go, well, I love myself enough to eat well, to exercise, to say affirmations, to set boundaries, to say no, that's inside love. And that inside love is empowerment. So that to me is when we recognize ourselves and all that we are, our gifts, our challenges, our abilities, etc., which we recognize every day and every year and every eternity. Then that's where we have that sense of confidence as well. So that's what empowerment is for me. Is like return to love, come back to that love space.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, and that the word power can have a negative connotation from those external things like you're talking about. Maybe in the business world, people have that perception that, oh, power. Look at that powerful person. He's this, that, and the other. But that self empowerment and that coming from a place of love. I love how you express that. That resonates with me, and I'm sure it does with anyone out there, because that's where it all comes from, doesn't it, Gene? It's the internal empowerment and
Yep,
internal love, our self love, and then that can permeate out to
absolutely.
everything that we're dealing with and everyone that we're dealing with. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I've forgotten the lady's name. Someone will know. Oh, you might know Billy, the lady that wrote "Dying to Be Me," and she had all these tumors within herself, and she basically it was that she was people pleasing, and in her multiple death processes, she realized that she had to love herself. Or I've only skimmed through that book, haven't read it properly, but other
yeah.
books that I've heard of. Excuse me, Conversations with God. I haven't read it. I know it's popular. Again, love. And it really does come back to, and all the love songs, all of them is that thing. But what happens is in 3D paradigm, according to Mr. School, is it's externalized. That love is. if you love me. If we're in the new paradigm of love, this is going to sound really weird, but it doesn't really matter what you think of me. And Michael J. Fox said that what you think of me is none of my business.
That's
So
true.
yeah, it
Yes.
comes back to how do I feel? So
Yeah, yeah, and that is an empowerment in itself because you're not reliant on that external permission or gratification or that external yeah, influence to say, oh, I'll love myself if you love me first. You've flipped it around and made sure that you love yourself, you're empowering yourself, and then that's a much more empowering way of living, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I've had to learn it by myself first. And when it feels so good, it's like if you made a really good chocolate cake, you want to share it with people. Same as me. I've learned it from the inside out, which is the sign of the cross. As above, so below, from within to without. And as above, so below. If I have that idea that I want to make chocolate cake, and then I action it, but it's from within to out, not the outside. But 3D world teaches you focus on the outside and then bring it in. This is new paradigm. Focus on the in and bring it out.
Yeah.
Which animals, nature, Mother Earth, Father Sky, Gaia, children, they all understand that. It's just us adults that forget.
That we forget over time, don't we? With
Yeah.
yeah, with various programming and indoctrination and that sort of thing, we just forget that purity that we have as a child. And like you say, you see that in animals. So, like a dog, for example, has this amazing loyalty. You can be away for a month, and I'm sure you've had this with Zach. He's at your door and he's ready. He just loves you unconditionally. There's no questions. There's no
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
comes from his heart. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's beautiful. Yeah. So what? Without getting too. I don't want to go down a negative path, but I think it's important that we address what stops people from self empowering. Do you think? Just to maybe
Mm.
touch base on that to help people out there that are listening that are maybe sort of listening and listening to the ideals of what we're talking about, but maybe internally going, well how do
Yeah.
they may not understand what's stopping them from doing that. Yeah,
Which is a great question. I just taught a masterclass last night about welcoming in autumn, which is related to secret codes of manifesting, of bring in the energy of autumn. And someone said, for autumn is about completion. I would like to complete self-sabotage. And I said, what if, which I love doing, because I'm not going to tell anyone anything. People can pay lots of money. I'm not going to tell them. I'm going to drop in and offer hors d'oeuvres and say, what if there is no concept of self sabotage? Because new paradigm is not saying this is how it is. It's working out, giving people an opportunity of what's right for me, such as in medical intuition, bones are about core beliefs and values. Are those core beliefs yours? Or were they learned subconsciously from parents? This is not a good or bad. From parents, is it ancestral? Is it cultural? Is it the country? Is it the state? Is it whatever? And so, uh, what if every opportunity is a new beginning to go, what's right for me? In mystery school, when I teach it in Mexico, which I've done, I have this saying, and it's also in my book, Secret Codes to Success. Is it true? Is it true? Is that true that I actually self-sabotage? The answer is actually no. It's not actually true. And it's the words that everyone knows. The words are really powerful, whether we say them or think them. Is it true that I sabotage? Is it true that I'm disempowered? Is it true that they're attacking me? Is it just taking that moment to go, wait, I've got to come back into my heart. What is my belief, value, truth? Hang on, what makes me feel good? And it might be stepping away from naysayers or people that don't encourage or foods that don't encourage as such. So taking the steps to this space and place is very much about just take a breath, Again from the book, if the thought is not loving, it's not mine to own. Is it true? Then I say, what meaning is that? Because we all have meaning to things as well. That's why on all my events, I'll say, what do you mean by that? Because my meaning of tomato might be different. Someone else's meaning of tomato is, oh my gosh, it flares up my histamine. I suddenly have bad sinus and I got rash. Whereas my meaning of tomato is, oh my gosh, give me more. A little bit of vinegar, salt, yum. So yeah,
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, and feel free to refer back to your book because I think we'll touch base
absolutely.
on that today. Yeah, one book I have read a couple of times is Michael Singer. I'm not sure if you're aware of him, and he talks about the surrender experiment and the untethered soul. There is two books, but we're not promoting that. But just in that, he talks about witnessing the thoughts. So not actually owning the thoughts yourself, but those thoughts come in. Are they mine? No, they're not. And
Yep,
just witnessing,
simmer.
allow them to flow, and it's very much in line with what you've said. So,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and because
This
otherwise
is
we can. Yep, you're right. You go.
I was going to say, Carly, I don't know if it's worked and it sounds beautiful. This is not owning it because we can witness it, but we can still then want to own it.
Right.
Why? Why would you want to own anything that is poisoning, hurting, or whatever? But we're told to, such as money doesn't grow on trees. You got to work hard for your money, toughen up, have a cup of concrete. Nope. That's our paradigm. Why would you want to do that? Me, I'd love a cup of hot water with lemon, please. I don't want a cup of concrete. So yeah, from that gentleman, witnessing it, fantastic. Take it the next level, then own it. They don't have to own it. They throw it away.
Yeah, that's right, and that gives you that sovereignty and that freedom to live in that new paradigm, like you're saying, and not hold on to our old stories. So that's because old stories that's a big part of why people do self sabotage in their belief systems. Don't allow them to become their best version of themselves. That'd be fair to say.
Uh, I don't like the word self-sabotage. I just think that it's not there.
It's not
I
there
do
yet. Yep.
believe that there's always results. That if I do this, like a mathematical equation, and if they did maths like this with sacred geometry, a blitz school, I didn't understand maths at school. That if I do this and this and this, I get this. And so if I um someone offers me a great paying job and it's everything I want. So here it is, this. And then I say no because I feel that my friend, partner, parents, dog doesn't want me to have it and I'll leave them behind. Then I get the result of pain. So then if I look at what do I keep doing in the patterns, and I observe the patterns, it's like, oh, check out what I did. So then we then have empowerment to go, well, I need to. And I'll give you an example. I remember as a small child when we immigrated, I learned the drums. Oh my gosh, I love, and this is like drumsticks and drums. I loved it. I'm such a doof head, so woo-woo, but such a doof head with music and things. And I played the drums. My youngest son wanted to learn the drums at primary school, and the teacher said, "Do you want to learn too?" And I why not? Let's go back to it. Nobody knew I played drums. So both Josh and I are learning drums. Well, it came back for me really quick. Tuk, 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 and we had to play on ice cream containers. My youngest son got upset. I went to an old pattern of, oh, don't shine your brilliance, don't do it, so that he would feel better. Well, he gave up anyway. He was bored. He wanted to play the guitar. I could have kept going, but I chose to do an old pattern. So did I sabotage or was I focused on an old pattern of make sure whoever they are happy, which would put an old paradigm. Yeah, make sure that they're happy, make sure that they're fed. We've all heard the oxygen thing. Put it on you first, and then
Yes.
yeah. So is there sabotage, which lightens up because education means to lighten up, and when we lighten this up, it's oh, you mean there's nothing wrong with me? No, And in fact, I say in mystery school teaching in Egypt, just say what's wrong with you, ask what happened. It gives the permission for someone to say, I've had some pain, but I'm willing to shine, rather than what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a. They're two completely different questions, aren't they? That and they probably intellectually and emotionally take you to different places. Obviously,
Yeah,
yeah. And
yeah,
one can continue your spiral. What's wrong with you? Because you're diving into that very question, as opposed to what happened to you. Okay, let's talk about it and then move forward to what you're saying.
yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yes,
Um, I was, as we were sort of preparing for today, or for me anyway, thinking about empowerment, the word abundance has come to mind, and that seems to be very um, yeah, prudent in a lot of things that are going on with that new paradigm that you speak of.
mm-mm,
Do you see do you see the connection there with abundance? Because the old paradigm, and I was talking to actually multiple conversations. Funny how life works, but the old paradigm was that we grew up in a world of competition, and whether that be sport, business, whatever. And if I do my best, and if I, particularly let's say business for money, I can't earn money unless I do my best. But I need to beat you, and I need to
yes,
take from someone else. Where the new
yeah,
paradigm and the shift that I'm feeling is the abundance. So you're shining your brilliance. That frees me up to shine my brilliance. I'm not stopping you. You're not stopping me. We're actually enhancing what each of us are doing. And that's just our relationship, but obviously, and that can permeate right out to the whole world. Yeah, I sort of gave this example the other day. It was like the ecosystem of a rainforest. You've got your
yes.
flora, your fauna, your big trees, your little microorganisms. They're all living cohesively together. No one's taking anything from anyone unless it's nature. And they're without each other, they can't exist. And there's not that competitiveness there. It's all living cohesively and beautifully and meshed together. Does that?
Yeah,
Do you see where I'm going?
totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I so agree. And abundance is related to empowerment, which is related to love. If I'm the word abundant means lots of. So if I've got lots of love to give, then I can't go into scarcity. I go into scarcity when I think what's wrong with me. So an example of, as you know, Billy, I was just in an expo over the weekend. I went in with an intention of not sales. Sure, I've got stuff to sell, not sales, but I'm going in with love. Anyone that wants to come to my store, look out. I'm going to love you up. I'm going to give you hugs and have a chat. And my store was just full the whole time, booked out, product selling. Yes, there was a massive profit, but that was never my intention. My intention was, I've got love who wants to come. And it was like, I don't know, what flies to or something. I don't know, sayings and things. And have always worked my business that way. Once I went, okay, let's try this old paradigm thing of do it for the money, and you go and check your competitors. Well, my bank account went like this, my heart went like this, and I can't do this. That's for a week. So abundance is really, I've got so much love. Now, in the meantime, there was a couple of stalls over that way, and I was watching, and this particular person is very competitive, very masculine. And they had no one at the store. It's not a bad or a good thing, but it was that contrast and abundance. If we ooze abundance, and I think I learned abundance while I was homeless. I didn't have anything. All I had was everything I could carry, and it was my school uniforms. And if I got food, great. If I got a place to sleep in, great. When I was abundant, I remember one time, this was in Melbourne, there was a swimming pool called Harold Holt, and after Harold Holt, the swimmer, and I'd sneak in with a family. I looked like one of the child, so I snuck in, and I felt abundant because it was like, I'm in. And I had a shower I could use. There was grass areas on a hill that I could sleep in during the day. People would buy hot chips and leave them there. Oh my God, I got leftover chips, even though they were cold and soggy. I was able to wash my clothes in the shower area. It was a safe place because it was lots of families compared to being out on the street. So, because I was in abundance, I received abundance as well. And I was in that love space. And then I'd have other families say, um, do you want to come and play with the children? What? So it's like when we're in love, we're in abundance. When we're in fear, which I've seen so many clients of old paradigm or the corporate, when I've worked in corporate world doing this work, uh, that when they're in fear, scarcity, competition, out to get you, etc., then they would come to me for medical intuition of I'm sick, I've got cancer, I can't get a partner, bank account's crappy. Or I had one client, she's a multimillionaire. She had everything materialistically, the fame, the glory, etc. She's very famous, well known. But she was so sad because she was in scarcity. But she had the millions and the whatever. So yeah, abundance is if I'm doing this from love, it works out. It
Yep.
works out.
Ah, beautiful. Thank you. That's a great answer. Yeah. What with your secret codes of success? How do you can would you like to share a little bit about what that's about? The program, the book. Yeah.
Sure, sure, sure.
Because it feels
I
like
think,
it's very relevant to what we're talking about today. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Success is held in our bones as well. And success is what we say to ourselves. For me, I was successful when I was homeless because when I went into that pool, I got chips, a shower, sleep. Success for me today at my age and stage of life is being able to come home, be with my family. When my sons come home because they're adults, we have dinner together. That's success. Like, wow. Sure, I've got Amazon bestsellers on internationally recognized. Yeah, that's nice. But my family, oh my gosh. And so the secret to success is four codes, and I'm going to give them to people in the book. But the book is a healing process that takes you on a journey. Take it slow when you read the book, by the way. So, one is if the thought's not loving, it's not mine to own. That's one. Because if that thought is floating around in the quantum of you're dumb, you're stupid, you're not lovable, you can't do, moving on. Is it true? If you decide to take that thought or thought comes up or someone said something, just ask, is it true? Is it true that you're a horrible cook? Yeah, no, it's just I don't like cooking. This isn't me, I love cooking, but no,
Yeah.
I don't like cooking. Um, then what meaning do you give it? Well, oh, I was giving it the meaning that I'm not a success, I'm hopeless, I'm bad, I'm wrong, I'm whatever. To the last one is I am lovable, loving, love, love. And when you hit that point, that's why I say the book is a healing process. When you hit that point, then you are a success. And it's very much based around this particular code of consciousness, what happens, lifetimes, it's related to ancient Egypt, Atlantis, galactic, of portals and things, where it's like, I can't be anything but a mirror image of the absolute, which is pure love and perfection. So therefore, oh my gosh, I must be a success. That's it. And it's a process of um, working out what is success. And it's ultimately what is your belief system? It's what you're saying to yourself. And just going back to the abundance thing, one of my affirmations is I accept these riches into my life now for myself and all of humanity. That's new paradigm. Sure, I can have it, but if it can be for everybody, wow. Or I love doing my work and I'm richly rewarded by both creativity and financially. Like when that happens, the success is knowing that I actually help someone. That's why I went into business. I felt like as a nurse, I couldn't actually help people as much as I can now. And so, as I said, on the weekend, if somebody came over or like the seminar, it was like, then I'm done. I'm a success. Whether they buy something or not, if they can walk away feeling good, I'm there. Done.
And that, yeah, beautiful. And that abundant energy exchange that you would have experienced multiple times at the expo, and I know you do day to day. I've seen plenty of times on Facebook where you mention at a coffee shop or just some random person that you meet. I love those little stories where you're exchanging that abundance, you're exchanging that self love, and that that self empowerment. And what that does for me, watching, and then I'm learning more and more to do that myself. It's still a journey. I'm somewhere in there on that success to secrets to codes to success. So. But when you're in that mindset and that heart space, it does expand. It expands from your heart, and then you do start to see the reflections around you. Different people come into your life, and when you're in alignment with who you are, I'm already starting to see that since I've started the podcast. The synchronicities have been amazing, and I was putting it down. Oh, the universe is helping me, and that. And a really good friend of mine said recently, he said, but it's your energies that is boosting up. So that's expanding out. So then everything around you is that frequency that we talk about is in alignment, rather than the self-pity, self-doubt, the stories, and then you're just attracting more if you're in that mindset. So so what beautiful. Yep.
And I agree. Like our paradigm is, let's blame the universe. Oh, the universe gave it to me. Oh, the universe doesn't want me to have it. Stop. Because universe, one song, universe, what's the verse that we're saying? And that with one song, it's that we're all lovable, loving, loved. And when we claim it and say, okay, this is me, then it ripple, because we're claiming it in, it ripples out, someone else gets it, they claim it, and it's just this beautiful ripple effect. That's actually the symbol of my millennium modality: center heart and then ripple out. You
Ripple
get
out.
it, and then you give it to somebody else, and then they give it to someone else, and it's beautiful. Claim it. And yet we're taught our paradigm, like, put it to somebody else. No, and even as you know, Billy, from my courses, sure, people will say, oh, it's because of Jean, and I said no. I just offer you some hors d'oeuvres. It was up to you to take them and to claim all of you. And again, it's everything I had to learn. I had to learn that I can do this, I can access potential. And when we're in love, we expand. It's like we go, "Oof," and we're really big and lovable and the smushy and the energy, and it attracts. That's the law of manifesting as well, which is related to this one. When we're in that cookie energy, it comes to me. As I teach in this one, it comes to me. Don't go hunting, because hunting is the old paradigm. Someone or something gets hurt. And I don't mean hunt the cow to eat it. I'm not talking about that. It's
No.
like that. Ultimately, we get hurt. And then we go into, I'm not a success and I can't do it and it won't work. And stop, let it come to you. It always works out.
Yeah, and I love what you're saying there, and on your graph behind you is that expansion where words like hunting and capturing, that's more zeroing in on a target, and like you said, there's that target is going to hurt from that, which is the complete opposite to what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah. I love.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring up. I just had it in front of me anyway, but this. Hopefully, I can see it.
Oh, yes.
It always
The
works
tea
out.
bag.
I was just going to, yeah, I was just going to say the expression, but I just looked down and I happened to have it. What that for me, and I've known you for quite a while. You've got plenty of. I won't say cliches because that can, but one of your favourite expressions is "it always works out." Would you like to elaborate on that? Because
Yeah.
I love that expression.
It actually works out. There's mathematical formulas that this happens here, that happens. It's mathematics. And even if I change my mind and you change your mind and we're meant to meet up, but we meet someone else, there's this this is like the Akashic records, they're never set in concrete, constant, like, it actually works out. So when we have our supposed down, icky, yucky days or experiences, it actually does work out. Because if I hadn't have done that, so I'll give an example. Um, I've always been like adrenaline bazinga type energy. Worse when I was on coffee, it was even more like and when I went into pathology, the pathology company, again, not to mention names, I don't putting anyone down. Pathology company was going through a bad state in this particular hospital. And here's Jane, ping, 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 ping. And I was really appreciative of the lab staff teaching me, sorting bench teaching me, the admin, like the different departments, because I had to learn all the departments before I went out on the ward as a nurse, stabbing people and things, taking blood tests,
Yeah.
stabbing people. And so I thought, what can I do? You know, on a Tuesday, I work 9 till 5. I'll go to the baker in the morning, and this is before wheat-free, gluten-free, and etc. I'll go and get full sugar, gluten, wheat cake. I'll bring it in for morning tea. So I went at 8 o'clock in the morning. I set up the morning tea area because everyone had to do shifts because the lab worked shift work. And I had the multiple cakes on the table, plates, everything. That was all set up for morning tea. And then I started my shift at 9 o'clock. When I had a break at 11 o'clock, I went back and cleaned up. And then I went back on my shift again. And then I got people saying, who brought the chocolate cake? I said, that was me. That was so nice. And I went, you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to continue that. So I did it every Tuesday for 6 months. And then got a wacky sense of humor. One time I bought chocolate bullets as feces, red Jaffa balls as red blood cells. Like I had little lollies as some of the specimens. Another time I had butcher paper and pens you had to draw around your food and things. And people were loving it. Um, so 6 months, and then I had my manager say, "I need to speak to you," and I went, "Okay, sure." She said, "It's very serious," and like, I've killed someone.
Oh
Oh
no.
my gosh, especially with a blood gas. A blood gas is where you dart it into the artery. I used to love doing it because I could see inside the body. Dart it, and the blood just raised up because of the artery. And if you didn't put pressure on, and then you had to run down to take the blood gas to the lab, you could kill the person. So I went. The manager said, "We've had a complaint about you that you provide morning tea." Pardon? You need to stop wanting tea. Okay, can we talk about it? No. Okay. Next week, I have to see you. Oh my gosh, I've killed someone. Really killed someone. Nope. We've had a complaint that you're not wearing white underwear underneath your white nurse's outfit.
Yep.
What? What? The union's been called. What? The third week, we had a complaint you don't wear a petticoat underneath your uniform. Like, who wears petticoats? I haven't seen petticoats for years. That's
No.
when I made a decision of love of self. I need to go. This is, and by the way, the manager on that one said, by the way, I'm resigning because I can't handle how you're being treated. Um, so now I've forgotten the question. Billy, what was the question? I got sidetracked.
Uh, with the it always works out. I think we
Oh
were
yeah,
sort of
it
heading
always.
down that path. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So it always works out. I'd become pregnant with our second child. I needed to leave. My husband was in the army. He was being posted to Sydney. It always works out. So 3 complaints, perfect, no problems, move on. That we don't realize. And the going away present that they got me gold earrings, staff came from their days off. The lab was full, like it was massive. That we just don't realize when there's a hard time, it actually works out. If we look back, we go, that just worked out. And if we say that, which is the last code, it always works out. If you say that to yourself, it's like it'll always work out. Even right at the beginning of that bumpy road, it's like it always works out. It does. Whether GPS took you the wrong way and you found a great coffee shop, whether you've been retrenched from your job, whether you, like me, suicidal. If I hadn't have done that, I wouldn't have done this work. I would have bumped myself off. So it always works out.
It does.
Always. And it's
Always.
just the universe slash us, mathematically, everything is aligned. Everything, always, always.
Yeah, yeah, and I loved your attitude that you were talking about when you were homeless, and your ability to go to the pools and see abundance within yourself, but see and as a result of that, families helped you. You got chips, you got fed, you got a shower, all that. It took me to when I haven't been there for a number of years, but going to a place like Bali, where it's obviously very lower socio-economic sort of areas, but they are some of the happiest people
Yes,
that you've ever met because they live in
yes,
abundance. They live with that happiness. And I've actually had multiple conversations with many of them because
yeah,
it's contagious,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
almost think, oh, how can you be so happy and you have
yeah,
nothing, or
yeah,
what we see is nothing, but you have in your mind and
yeah,
your heart you have everything. Yet we
yeah,
sit here in Australia and we've got a house, a roof over our head, and
yeah,
yeah, well, everything that we think that we've got, and yet, like you said, with that lady that was a multimillionaire and famous, and that wasn't happy. So
mm,
it's not all about money or anything else. You can find that abundance and that
yeah,
inner peace and that self empowerment,
yeah.
regardless of where you are, what your circumstances are, and I find that inspiring, and yeah, much the same as what
Um,
your story. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, yeah. Look, I've had many multi-millionaire, billionaires, famous people and whatever come from medical intuitive sessions. And they've got the supposed old paradigm of bling bling, I call bling bling stuff. They're not happy because they're not in love. And they've wanted and they've bought the kids this and that and whatever. And sometimes they're things that I just think that's not my comprehension of the amount of money and what they're buying and whatever. And my husband and I made a decision for our children that we weren't going to buy things. We want to take them on experiences. So they've traveled around with my work and things. And I listen to people when they go on holidays here on the Sunshine Coast. They come here with nothing. They've got the bare basics of their suitcase. They take the kids to the beach. The kids don't have toys. They're happy. They go home to all of their blah blah at home, and they're whinging and complaining and whatever. We just don't realize that happiness is held in the organ of the heart. Um, Again, if I'm in love, not with someone, it's not just ourselves. If I'm in a state of love of, gosh, what can I give? How can I be of service? There's just this big energy, big energy, and life changes, totally changes.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Just thought came to my mind as you was talking about the beach and then going back and playing with their toys. So I remember as a kid, you'd get these presents at Christmas or whatever, or your birthday, and then how many times do you still see it now? The kid or the child will be playing with the box. So
Yes.
whatever the toy is, the Xbox or whatever the expensive toy
Yeah,
is, suddenly they're
yeah,
sitting there at 10 o'clock in the morning on Christmas morning playing with the boxes, and they're in just pure joy and bliss. And the parents are going, oh, we spent all this money, yet we could have just put them in got a box, for a couple of
yeah,
boxes, and yeah,
yeah, yeah.
and that
Totally,
yeah, yeah,
totally,
it's funny.
totally.
What just so we've spoken about a little bit about the mystery school. Did you want to elaborate a little bit more on that at all? As far
Sure,
as yeah, yeah,
sure.
because
So,
I love what you do and everything that we're talking about today. It's not about just promoting your business or anything, but just I feel like that's why we're chatting today, because everything you do for me inspires me to be a better
oh,
person and to be more of love, because you're doing it, you're living and breathing it, and I'd love for people to understand what you're doing,
thank
so
you.
then they can be inspired as well. So
Thank you so much, Billy. Mystery School is very ancient. Uh, what happened was I used to remember all of this as a child, and then my husband was in the army, and he went away a lot in the army, and that's when I moved from Brisbane to the Sunshine Coast. The kids were tiny tots, and I had this crazy awakening. I wrote about it in my Jean Sheehan book, where I had this like crazy headache for 7 days and vomiting, and I hugged the toilet bowl for 7 days. I just couldn't get off the floor. Our previous dog, Lucky, just howled. There was a ego death. Some people said it was a walk-in, and I understood that it wasn't walk-in as such. It was all memories coming in. So it's like my whole crown chakra just blew off. and I just remembered everything. And it took me a couple of years to integrate. Like I went to an ATM machine and I burst into tears. I didn't know what to do with it. I had stroke-like symptoms. I couldn't speak. There was all these things that happened to me. And in those memories of mystery, like I didn't understand it was mystery school back then. It was everything about ancient Egypt, Atlantis, Lemuria, medieval, Pallades, Arcturian, or the Galactic, Mayan, Aztec, Incan, all the times of awakening to the greater awareness of the new paradigm of love just went in 7 days. So all expansion into my little brain, it kind of hurt a little bit. Um, I'm making it a joke, but it was horrific, absolutely horrible. And so it was a mystery school, and um, mystery schools of those times weren't called mystery school. They had their own name, but they were thought of mystery because of the power. So those galactic beings that came into Atlantean times were teaching about how to raise your awareness from fear to love. And that's basically all of them. I'm making it very simple. Fear to love, fear to love, fear to love. But in Atlantis, the high priestesses were seen as something to have. So they were eaten, caged, trapped, murdered. Same with the medieval times where, you shared your witch warlock wisdom and then they were drowned. And some of you are going to relate, I know. It's like, let's take people from being and thinking this way to they weren't being, they were doing. Let's go to being the pure love and have education. So, school is an education, and the word education means to enlighten. The mystery part was in Atlantis, for example, the high priestesses said the word knee, and that person's knee would miraculously heal. Ceremonies, rituals, all those sort of things, circles, etc., which is very trendy at the moment. So it's starting to come through. It was just the mystery of how they're doing it, how they're doing it, because the uneducated didn't understand when you're in love, anything's possible. And so the way I bring mystery school through now, which is all of this, I bring it in a grounded way. Like it took me years to translate it from woo-woo to everyday language, so that people come from a state of from fear to love, whether it be a one-day event, whether it be 5 days online, whether it be the 12-month medical intuition, whatever it is, of let's take that story, that's all it is, and let's look at it and go, it's fear, let's deposit it, not let go of, throw it away. I deposit it over there because that also made me who I am and return to love. Um, so Mystery School is all about return to love. And it was bringing in mystic, witch, mermaid, high priestess, warlock, shaman. They're all names of lifetime. All of it is magic, really. And it's knowing what happens at certain ages, that it's knowing to work with seasons, it's knowing about astrology. So that's in the medical intuitive courses of knowing the personalities, sacred geometry, medical astrology, animal medical intuition, that the animals tell us what to do. As you know, Billy, I was in Mexico taking mystery school just recently, and everyone was sleeping, and then they went to yoga. I don't like yoga. But no offense to anyone that likes yoga, I just don't like yoga. I like the actual physical walking stuff. And I'm walking, just doing my thing, and a wolf comes out, and I went, "What? Am I saying something?" No, it disappears into the bush again. I'm in the jungle. Came out again, and I crouched down and called it over. And it came really close. It was white with a little bit of uh, uh, color on the back. And it was just so peaceful. And then I said, "What's your message?" And it said, "You are the leader of the heart. Claim it," and disappeared. Like, and when we watch the animals, so with Mystery School, we watch the animals, we watch the plants, we watch the weather. Whereas in our paradigm, oh my God, it's raining again. We wish instead of embracing everything. So mystery school is understanding all that wisdom so that we feel empowered. I know when an animal comes to me, or if there's galactic thing or the moon's retrogrades, whatever, it's like, thank you very much, thank you very much, thank you very much. Be empowered when I've got everything telling me what to do and how to be. So that's mystery school, but it's working with the codes, which is a missing link for a lot of people.
Right, right. Oh, beautiful. And there's a lot of, obviously, a lot of layers and facets to that. I love you. I know you shared it previously with me because of the connection with wolves. But yeah,
Yes.
an amazing story. I think it's incredible what we when we are in that energy of love, like you were saying. The animals know that, don't they? They
Oh,
sense fear, they sense and they sense love, and
always.
their responses are as plain as anything. And that not just a wolf in the jungle, but domestic animals, dogs, our dogs,
Yeah,
cats, and
yeah,
yep,
yeah.
they pick it up. Yeah, wow,
Always,
yeah.
always. And I always, like at the expo, I had Rainbow Children Down syndrome, etc. Just go "Whoop," to me, or I'll be on this. When I took people to Egypt, the dogs were straight up to me, the horses, the donkeys. Or when I was in Greece last year with Miss School, cats. I do have a reaction to cats. I swell up and get itchy. I was actually in the stress. I'm sitting eating dinner with the group, and the white cat just goes up on my lap, curls around, falls asleep. So I'm like, okay, I'll just eat dinner anyway. So it's like they just know, or children. And when we're in that space, that's the abundance on, and sure, money and love and relate, everything comes in. But as it comes in, can I then gift it out? And it's this ebb and flow as well.
Mm. I love that, and it's that expansion when we are in that heart space, we expand out, and that energy, just
Yeah.
like you said with the wolf and with the cat,
Yes.
they gravitate towards that. They come back
Yes.
towards you, and that like you say, that ebb and flow. Where if we're
Yes.
in fear, we're contracting, and we're not. We're dispelling everything. We're or
Yeah.
repelling everything. Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
repel. Definitely, it's the repellers. And that was me. I was in fear when I was younger. Grew up with the fear. Oh gosh, I remember one time I was fast asleep on the floor, and I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me. It just is what it is. It always works out. I needed this. That we had a tiny, it was called a flat then, housing commission flat in Melbourne. And I slept on the floor. I didn't have a bed till I was 14. And dad had come home drunk. And all I woke up with was something warm dripping on my feet. And it was blood from a knife at my mum's neck. He'd come home drunk again, blah, blah. And I grew up in fear. So I repelled everything. I was wanting things, but I was pushing it away. And I just had to learn, stop, be in that love space. Oh my gosh, the chips came in, the shower came in, the safe place to sleep came in. Yeah, when in love, which is a corny, I think, but hence why all my branding's hearts, like
yes.
heart
Yeah.
earrings, heart pendants, heart everything.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. And what what I get from that as well, it has to be authentic. It has to be
Yes.
genuine.
Yes.
I've read something recently where they're talking about language and in relation to energy, and they were saying that putting in mathematics into it, but 7% was body verbal, so communicating verbally. 23% was non-verbal, our mannerisms, body language, everything else. But then the 70% is energy, and we can pretend and we can learn to
Yep.
speak a certain way and use particular body language in the business world or wherever we are. But if we're not authentic and we're not
Yep.
genuine, that 70% will shine through, as we picked up with animals pick that up, and humans are picking that up as well. But we know that within ourselves, and that's where you're saying before, people
Yeah.
have learnt maybe that 30%. I know how to communicate, I know how to manipulate, and it's all in a fear-based
Yes.
negative. If they're not from the heart and being authentic, that will come back
Yes.
they'll sooner or later pick up that misalignment and start to ask the question, what's wrong, what's happening, why am
Yep.
I not happy, because they haven't
Yep.
focused on that. Would that, yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. And it is energetic. So whenever, or even before this podcast, how do I expand my energy to love? Again, people look at me and go, Gene, you're so like woo-woo, but you're so like grounded. So prior to this, I had my headphones in, I was listening to doof doof music because I love the beat of doof doof. And it's like, that fills me, that fills me. I just want to give love. I just want to give love. So it's like me dancing on the inside. And it's like, well, okay, I'm ready. Prepared to, okay, I've got to get it right and I've got to get the sales and then I've got to say the right thing and I've got to think which what that does is just go and it destroys us, completely destroys us. And then when we've got what's wrong with you, or even when we say it's because I was, and I have been, I've been sexually abused and raped or whatever, it's because I was that, that's actually taking me into the quantum of that smallness. Sure, that happened, but that is not me. What is me is here. So yeah,
Yeah,
authenticity, integrity is really, and you can energetically feel it. Like you can feel when someone's not. It's sort of like, and it's not a negative on the person. It's like, no thanks. I don't want to go into that restaurant, or I don't want to go into the coffee shop, or sometimes you might see people in shopping centers and things where they're like, hey, g'day, g'day. And they're pulling you over for sales. I love that dress. So I'm really good. And I say, you want that dress? And it throws them because I'm giving love back. They lose their sales pitch. No, I'm not doing it to be awful. It's just, I want to love you. I don't want your sales pitch. If I want the thing, I'll come and buy it. But please be you, be
just
all
for
of
you.
you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and just an extension of that too, Gene. That and I've obviously attended some of your courses. I love your energy and how like there was one time I did eight days in a row with you, and they were big long days. And I remember thinking, oh, where does she get the energy from? But it's because you're coming from a place of love and from an expansion that creates that energy,
Yeah.
doesn't it? You
Yeah.
know
I
that
totally.
firsthand. Where if
Yeah.
you're in that fear based, it constricts you and it does it wears you out. It
Uh,
brings in that excuse me, that fatigue and tiredness,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're not replenishing your energies. You're actually decreasing. That makes sense?
It totally. And when I'm doing, it's actually 9 days for me, 8 days for you guys, because the day before
Yes.
we're setting up and creating that. And I start a 10-day fast. So the day before, I start just water. The ninth day of setting up water. And whilst all of you are learning, so I can be clear, I'm on water. And people will say, where do you get the energy from? How can you not have energy if you're filled up on love? Whereas emotional eating, eating the wrong foods, is in the fear, it's in that small space. And stomach is about fulfillment and satisfaction. I'm not feeling fulfilled. So I'm going to gravitate to the sweet things. I'm going to overeat. I'm going to eat at nighttime. I'm going to whatever. But yeah, when you're in love, not just go, we'll have food later. Oh my gosh.
Living on love and energy. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 I remember I had a past life regression once, and one of my lives I was this is going to sound a bit woo woo and strange to some people out there, but I was basically on a planet that wasn't
Yeah.
Earth, and it was very red based, very red, that red sandy deserty soil, and I thought in the distance I could see the mountains and everything else. And the person doing the past life regression asked me, "How are you?" One of the questions was, "How what do you eat?" And I said, "I don't need to eat.
Mhm.
I absorbed the sun or absorbed the
Yes.
light and the
Yes.
energy, and I didn't even need food."
Yeah.
And there's some people that do practice that as well out there in today's world that I know. But yeah, I found that interesting because for
Yeah.
me at that time was like, well, how do we live without food? But it was that energy and yeah, where
Yeah.
and whenever that was, I didn't pick that up. But yeah, yeah, like you're saying, for that 10 days you're fasting, but you're energized by your love and by the love that's
Yeah.
coming in as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And talk total woo woo, like all that galactic stuff. And we've got multiple universes, not just one. And yes, those are the portals and vortexes of connect to all of it. That's part of mystery school, is connect to all those paradigms, because that's all of us as well. Is all right, that's part of me, that's part of me. So yeah. So
Ah,
beautiful.
excellent.
Go the woo woo.
Very good. Was there anything that you wanted to add to today? I've been asking a bunch of questions, shooting questions at you. Was there anything that you wanted to
No,
elaborate on, or
no, I like you've covered all of it. I think the main thing is, as I said, from the secret coast to success. If the thought's not loving, it's not mine to own. Is it true? What meaning do I give it? It always works out. I am lovable, loving, loved. It just is, and that the old paradigm is meant to be in conjunction with the new paradigm at the moment, which is third, fourth, and fifth dimensions. And we're meant to be there. It's not once I reach fifth dimension, I'm free. We're still going to have learning lessons. It's allowing ourselves to connect to that new paradigm. And it's great fun in that paradigm. You may need to leave old stuff behind, and things like that, but it's okay to shine your brilliance. It's okay to be all of you, because then you're the example of what's possible. And we don't have to be like Oprah or Lady Gaga or, famous. It's the humble that or shall reign, which is in all those beautiful books. And I think, oh, what's the Giggle Man called? The Dalai Lama. We call him Giggle Man. The Dalai Lama says, the humble shall reign. It is just when we be ourselves, like we did as kids, it always works out. That's the main
uh,
thing. It always works
beautiful?
out.
Thank you very much. All right, I'm just going to ask you some questions just to probably start to close up. But what you've touched base on it a little bit today, but what inspires you to do what you do? If I can ask you that.
Yeah, look, really simple. Two things. I was in that pain, and I know what it's like to be on the other side. And I want to inject everyone. I'll just use my medical background, inject everyone with it if they want it. Uh, and also, um, I just feel so in doing of service and my legacy, offering this to people. It's not for everyone. I understand. If they do join, as you know, Billy, boy, am I going to love you up. So they're the two reasons why I
I
do
can
it.
attest to
By
that.
the
Yeah,
way, what was that?
I said I can attest to that. That's for sure.
Yeah, so they're the two reasons of why I do what I do. Because yeah, it's just it is miraculous watching people go from hurt, loss, pain, isolated to being all that they are is amazing. What a gift from
Beautiful.
me and
Oh,
them.
that's right. Yeah, no, thank you. And what are the keys to? It's a bit of a long-worded question, but what are the keys to happiness, peace, and being all of you?
Oh, that would be have to be eat mangoes.
Eat mangoes.
Yeah, eat mangoes. That's my favorite thing is mangoes. And part of that is, take on board anything says, whether you read it, say it, me, books, whatever. See what's right for you. Take that portion, see what's right for you. I relate to medical intuition. Take it, bite it, digest it, see what's right. Mangoes for A positive, which is my blood type, not supposed to eat mangoes. If I don't have mangoes, I really don't shift into that next paradigm of the season. I actually require mangoes. That's why I used it as an example. Happiness is what makes your heart sing, and do it that don't do it all paradigm for the money or the family, whatever. That brings peace of mind, because when we've got peace of mind, when we're doing what we love, we're in peace of mind. That means, embrace all the gifts you are. If you're loud, if you're quiet, if you're extrovert, introvert, um, embrace it all and eat mangoes.
Oh, I love it, love it. Nice analogy. And where can we find you online? I guess mostly these days.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure. So there's my website, Millennium Education. YouTube, again, Millennium Education, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all the social medias. And just reach out, especially through the website, go through inquiries, and then love to be able to support you. There's lots of free services and free training, and maybe see you around somewhere or other as well.
I know firsthand you do so much without a cost to anyone that adds value to people's lives, and I've been a recipient on that. I'll put all the links on the podcast as well, so anyone that is interested can click on that and get onto your websites, etc. Do you have any up and coming courses that you'd like to share with anybody that may or may not be interested? Yeah.
Sure. So we have Return to Self, Egypt again, September, October. That is interview.
Going back to Egypt,
not everyone can come. It is an interview process because of the activations, and that one's related to Atlantis and Galactic. We have Ascension Chakra course on the 10th and 11th of August at Noosa, and we start the 12-month medical intuition course in November. They're the main three ones that are coming up as well as other things.
And of course, anyone has any inquiries about that, they can get in contact with you and your team. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you very much, Jean. It's been an absolute, almost teary now, but honour and pleasure to have you on the show. So, I do get emotional because I love doing what we're doing today, and hopefully inspiring and educating and helping people to become their best version of themselves and be all of them and all of you. So anyone out there, thank you for listening. Thank you, Jean, for all that you do on a day-to-day basis, and taking the time today to come on the podcast and share your wisdoms and your heart. It's been wonderful. Thank you.